Hello and welcome to
Another chapter.
and today we have our wrap up of January.
There we go. I can't show it. I can't hold it correctly. Stop! There we go.
The first book I read in the new year was not that one.
Was not that one.
Was Spine and Leaves by Shatona Havoc, and this is going to be a series about a twist on the kitchen guru guy that basically goes into restaurants and like saves the restaurants that are dying. Well, this is a guy that goes into bookstores. He's gonna go into bookstores and basically save these bookstores that are dying. And this tells the story of Milton. So this is like the prequel or the introduction to the series. And Milton is a guy that has a pet parrot, or it's a miniature parrot. Anyway, he ends up in California, hot place, and basically kind of he goes from being a top professional. What is he? He's a he's not. He isn't. He basically helps companies that are dying, but has a deep love for books, and kind of stumbles into this bookstore, and just kind of it develops. There's so many books in here from my childhood, books that most people don't even know of, like Patty Fairfield. I know. I read Patty Fairfield. Grandma, somebody needs to read Patty Fairfield. Fairfield. See, I get stuck with Sabrina. Whatever. Anyway, you'll love her. You'll love her. She's awesome. Books that most people don't even know of. And they're all sprinkled throughout here. So much fun. I loved it. It's called Spines and Leaves, and it just tugs at your heartstrings.
This isn't the first book I read in January, but I'm just going to do with all the school books I read. This is 12... Ouch. This is 12 Extraordinary Women... I keep thinking it's 12 Extraordinary Women from the Bible, but how God shaped women of the Bible and what he wants to do with you. By John MacArthur. It's not what I expected. I don't know if there's a lot of new information. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good in a sense.
How so? I'm kind of confused.
Well, I mean, they talk about these 12 different women from the Bible, and he talks about what their role was, but when I read the Bible, that's not even making sense. When I read the Bible,
comparing with scripture.
Yeah. And this book,
So basically what this book is doing is that he is using a lot of information we know about the customs and the civilization, but he's not taking it necessarily from scripture.
Not really. Well, no, he uses a lot of scripture, but it's most of the stuff I was reading was stuff I already knew because of other books I have read based on this.
So this was nothing new, informative,
and
it didn't help you grow in any way.
No.
It was just there.
No, I mean, it wasn't terrible either, but...
Another one that I read was The Treasure Hunt. This is by Kate Willis, and this showed up. I don't know where this came from, so if some of you sent it, I thank you. I did not order it, but it was a very fun read. It's a middle grade Christian centered, family friendly little book. I think it would be really good for someone like my daughter's age who I think it would be really good for this age. It kind of has a spider web for two feeling. So they had these clues on how to find this treasure, and it's just kind of hard to tell a lot about it because it's only 50 pages. they're just like trying to figure out these clues, these two siblings working together. There's family values here. It's just what, like the good and the beautiful type of thing, where you just want good literature to give to your kids. I would say that this really works with it. It was really cute, and I have to say, as an adult looking down, I was just like, it wasn't meaty enough, but for people that aren't necessarily big readers, I think something like this would be very enjoyable, kind of like the boys' obsession with the I Survived, and something that they can breeze through, read, and finish and feel like they've accomplished something. I kind of feel like this is a similar vibe to it. It was cute, it was enjoyable. I'm gonna go read it.
Not right now.
Another school book I read was Canterbury Tales Retold, or by Geoffrey Chaucer, retold by Geraldine McCarrine, something like that. This is just people who tell these medieval classic fairy tale type stories, and it was pretty fun. I really liked it. It was funny.
I read another childhood favorite. This is The Princess by Lori Wick. It's pure fluff. It's enjoyable. I got more out of it, I think, as an adult than I did as a teen. Just, I used to read this at least once a month during a certain time of month, all the time. It just was a book that fit. And it tells the story of a grieving widow prince who needs to get married. It's part of the law, tradition, something of this made-up place, made-up kingdom, and they find his parents, like trusty advisor, finds this young woman, Shelby, as a potential bride, and she comes married to him, and it's just basically how they go from acquaintances to friends to husband and wife, and just that building up of a relationship, almost Love Comes Softly in a way, but royalty. And it is, I don't know, like it's got some great deep conversations, especially because Shelby is kind of a newer Christian, and she tends to be kind of the do-it-all checklist type of personality, and it's kind of going beyond that. And so it's kind of nice to see her grow in different ways. I have not read this in so many years, and it was just really enjoyable to read again. So, The Princess by Lori Wick.
Another school book I read. I read a ton of school books this month.
No, you finished a ton of school books. You wrapped up term
Yeah.
3, so
It's easier for me to understand these now that I'm not 10 years old, trying to figure out what the heck life is about. And it was really good. I really liked it. And the more older I get, the more I understand. Especially with this one, which is for people starting to grow into the age of learning how our world works, and it's not just
economic
all about
system and
fun. It's about
adulting.
adulting. And I don't know if I want to come an adult
I
anymore.
made, for my Sodbuster channel, I made a basically review on why I require these for high school. I'll leave it linked down below for you. Let me talk about this one. I finished In His Image by Jen Wilken. It has taken me, I think it took me 6 months to get through this. I tend to have a much slower time when I do nonfiction. Nonfiction is presenting itself as truth, and so I tend to kind of hold it to it being truth, and I can go on a lot of rabbit trails. I need time to absorb what is being taught and kind of work it out in my mind. So it's taken me a while, but it is so good. So far, I have really loved Jen Wilken's books. I read Women of the Word and just got so much out of it. In His Image, it's the 10 ways God calls us to reflect on His character. And so again, I just really, really appreciated The depth she goes. I was note taking in a lot of this. I do have like some question marks of how did you come to that conclusion? But that being said, we do have different not religious backgrounds, but Baptist, Lutheran, different perspectives on things. So all in all, really enjoyed this, gave it 5 stars, and I'm currently working through Not in His Image, None Like Him with a group buddy, and it's been, I would say this is honestly, I think, much better to do as a group read. I'm really enjoying that, and ladies, if you guys want to do another book, I'm all for it, because I think for me, nonfiction in a group read setting has just been amazing. I think I want to stick to that.
Let's go look. I read was The Pleasures of Reading in an Age of Distraction by Alan Jacobs.
I loved this book.
I wasn't too impressed with it. Throughout this book, it's sharing different ways how to read a book and how to understand different books. But it wasn't that helpful for me. Nothing caught my attention very well.
And I made this a priority, or I made her read it. I can't think of the proper terminology. I made her read it because in her school curriculum, we follow Ambleside Online. In her school curriculum, she is required to read the famous Mortimer Adler's book, How to Read a Book. Is that just what it's called?
Yeah.
And there were some issues that I had with that book, and even he brings out some of the issues that I was having with that book. How it kind of takes away the pleasure of reading when you critique a book so deeply. And so I wanted her to kind of have this foundation before she went into that book. And maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should have had to read Mortimer Adler's book and then the one. I don't know, but yeah. So you're like, I read fiction.
Yeah, I'm more of a fiction type girl.
And that is more for how to read a nonfiction.
Yeah, I'm not into nonfiction very well.
Go ahead and share another one because I only have one more book.
Okay. Hold the Light by April Mcgowan, yeah.
Where did we get these?
I would like to ask the same question.
I don't even know.
I read this while I was
Grandma, did you send us these? Because we don't know where we got them.
I honestly don't know. This 19 something or another is a really not well-known artist, but she's a very well.
Is it done by your feet?
That's not what I'm trying to say. She is a very good artist. It sounds so informal. She's a very good artist, and she knows that her vision isn't the same, so she goes to the doctors for her annual eyesight checkup, and they say she is going blind due to a genetic disease thingamajig. Her dead mother had it, and so she's figuring out that this is a genetic disease and that her life is gonna die. Or
her life is gonna die.
Her life is gonna crumble right before her. Guy who is counseling. Wow, that's fancy. This guy is counseling her, and she later realizes that he has a certain cancer, and she's wondering how he lives, how he does, like no worries, nothing like this. And so he counsels her on that, and they become friends. But the thing that I didn't like about this book was the very big attitude she has. She had the worst attitude for a 19-year-old. I was like, how? She was blaming God for everything. She was angry at everybody. She didn't want to talk to anyone. She didn't want to talk to her adoptive mother or anyone. She was just
You're
really
like, how
snotty.
does she get away with this? My mom would have whooped my butt.
Yeah. I wasn't too impressed. There is a second one about her best friend Shannon, and what I liked about this book was how Ethan said no matter what, you keep going forward. You don't stop because you know that your life is going to change. You need to keep going forward with your life, even if it means changing the way you live. So she learns how, she practices like Braille and how to cook while she's blind. She goes to these different classes and everything. Coped with it. I'm pretty surprised of how she coped with it. I mean, she was slowly, gradually going blind, so it made it a little bit easier than just randomly going blind all of a sudden. What I do like is how she still continued to do art. I mean, when she was slowly, gradually going blind, she learned how to paint. She had a blindfold over herself and learned how to paint as if she was already blind. So I liked how she still continued. And even Ethan was having troubles figuring that out, that he was gonna lose both of his legs, either or one or both of his legs. Something, I think he loses both.
Don't give the whole story
and so
away.
they both have to try to cope with this new loss that they're both dealing with. It was okay. I'm not gonna reread it, or I'm probably not gonna keep it. I like the ending, but it took forever to get into. It was interesting.
I read the first If I Run by Terry Blackstock that so many of you have been talking about. I finally got it, and it reminded me so much of why I enjoy Terry Blackstock. It has been many years since I've read her. There was a couple series that she came out that I just wasn't getting into. And so I kind of just put her aside as, okay, she's just writing the same old kind of thing. You know how authors tend to do, Lori Wick. And anyway, so many people were raving about it, and then I found all but the first one secondhand. Finally bought the first one off Thrift Books so I could get into it. And yeah, this is the Terry Blackstock I know and love and enjoy. And if you don't know, basically this girl stumbles across her best friend dead and knows she's going to be blamed for it. So basically she kind of goes off grid, does whatever she can to survive until she can figure out how to bring the criminal that did this to justice. And she's not a Christian, so there's kind of this slow emerging plot within a plot of how that goes. And it leaves you on a cliffhanger, so I'm really glad I did not get started on this before all of the series were out, because I hate that. I hate getting into a book, having a cliffhanger, and then having to wait a year for the next book. So I have all three. I look forward to reading them, and I think I got 5 stars. I think I enjoyed it that much. Well done.
Okay.
And that's the other thing with Terry Blackstock, with her books, is that she's very good. She must be a fisherwoman, because she's very good at kind of throwing the hook at you and then the slow reeling in. So even though something's really slow going, maybe there is still that slowly reeling you in, wondering where is this going to go.
I read Rebecca, A Sunny Brook Farm by Kate Douglas Wiggin. I'm reading this and I'm like, it's Anne Shirley. Anne of Green Gables.
Which is what I have been telling her for years.
No, I don't remember that. Anyway, if you have read Anne of Green Gables, this is what it pretty much is. Anne of Green Gables is just this girl named Rebecca Randall is one child of is one of 7 fatherless children, and then she goes to live with her 2 aunts, and so when she comes to live here, because her mother can't support all 7 children, Rebecca goes to school, learns how to makes a few friends. I don't really know what to say. She just lives with them for a few years until...
It's the story of Anne on a farm.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Anne of Green Gables is also on a farm.
I was going to say, it is on a farm.
Okay, the last book I have to share with you, I did read in the first week of February, but I'm just going to include it here. There is also a blog post that goes along with this, because this was done as a review and part of Celebrate Lit. And I do want to just do a quick shout out that go to my blog, because when I do reviews for this team, it's just called Celebrate Lit Team. I'm not sure really what to call it, but there's always a giveaway kind of involved in this. And so this is the most recent one I've read. It is Everard by, wow, Shatona Havoc. And you guys, if you don't kick the thing, if you love Princess Bride, you'll love this. If you enjoy kind of a twist on fairy tales, you'll love this. If you enjoy Squire's Tale, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that. Squire's Tale is hilarious.
I love the book.
Squire's Tale is like a more humorous twist on King Arthur.
Yeah.
You'll love this. And this basically tells the story of Everard, who they have finally won this 1,000-year war battle that they have been fighting against another kingdom. He comes home and basically, as a prince, as a knight, wants to do an honorable thing after something happens. And in order to do that, he is sent on several quests. He is sent to go kill a dragon. He is sent to go slay a giant. And he is sent to capture an enchantress, or take out an enchantress. And it's kind of just, not everything is as it seems, especially in fairy tales. So this was hilarious. I laughed so many times, and it has the most beautiful opening ever, because it was dedicated to 2 Christian women that my mom and I have known for so many years, and in the past year they both have died to cancer. So it was really beautiful to kind of read that, and who knew that something that would have been written so many years ago.
I read Keep with Lost Cities and Never Seen. This is the 4th book in the series. This is when, hold on, Sophie, Keith, Fitz, Fiona, Dex.
Samantha?
6.
I don't even know a Samantha.
This is when they go in hiding because the council in this Keep with Lost, or this Lost Cities world wants to put these children into exile or exilium, something like some kind of school for the banished, something like that. So they run to join the Black Swan, who are the people who created Sophie, and the Black Swan, the Black Swan are trying to capture these never seen people. So
then you can share
it's them.
what you've read in the month.
Shh. This is a library. It's Sophie and her friends trying to figure out their next plan and try to sabotage that plan, so more problems in the future don't happen. Something like that. I can't speak today or think today. It was very good. There were obviously the funny parts. Keith, especially with Tam, a new character he meets. They fight over the hair. You gotta have the perfect hair. Those of you who have read this will understand. There's funny parts, and there are the very sad parts. Like, I cried. You laughed.
I laughed, I cried. It moved me, Bob.
Because I'd be spoiling it, so I can't say it. Dang it. But it was very good, and I gave it 5 stars as usual because I can't get enough of them. Anyway,
I just checked my Goodreads. I have one more book that's in my room, and I'm not gonna go get it. But it is Eleanor by somebody. You'll have seen the picture. Hopefully, I can fit it right here between heads. This one I have a review on my blog. Again, it was part of the book tour. But it is basically kind of a fictionalized possibility based on a diary found by Eleanor, actual diary, of what happened to the lost colony of Roanoke. And there's a lot of speculation as to what happened. There's some things that we do know, there's some things we don't know, and it's kind of this building up of possibility. It's a very slow moving book, but the author wrote in such a way that like you know what's coming, and so there is just this, it was amazing. Throughout the book you're like living with them, but you also have this anticipation of just them living life, looking over their shoulder, trying to fit in, trying to do what's right, kind of figuring things out. It was really good. I think I gave it 4 stars. So the full review for that is linked down below, and that I think is a wrap up of January.
December for one of Chantal's thing for this was 2021. A book with a winter element. I did not read the entire Snow Queen and Other Winter Tales, but I did get the Snow Queen story. I didn't get the rest, but I got the Snow Queen and a few others. I did not get the whole book done, but I did get the Snow Queen, which is what I was aiming for.
And in January, Chantal's reading the book challenge was Something Quiet. The title, I am currently trying to finish C.S. Lewis's Out of the Silent Planet, I think is what it's called.
That you didn't have to read it that month, but you had to finish it that year, something like that.
I'm gonna double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's what she said.
But yeah, I read Echoes Among the Stones. I did not get it done in January. That'll be later, but I did.
Yeah, I'm trying to get through this. So that's it for the month of January.
Yeah.
February is shaping up to be interesting. It is.
I might need to do like part 1 and part 2 because I've already read 10 books.
I know, and I have not read any.
And I plan to read 100 more.
100?
Really. No.
Alright, that's going to be it for this video. And until next time,
Have another cup of coffee.
Or tea.
and read another chapter. Bye.